Pool just announced that apparently he was supposed to speak at America Fest. Now he has been pulled. He has been banned from speaking at America Fest. And yes, it was a Turning Point USA decision. Let's go ahead and get into this, folks, here. Even Kilgore shared this. Holy shit. Turning Point USA told Tim Pool he is not invited to America Fest this year. This is interesting because if we're looking at the Israel perspective, Tim Pool is, for the most part, has been pro-Israel. He was one of the podcasters that met with Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to DC. So let's hear what he has to say.
Turning Point maybe sees this. And I'll tell you my thoughts on this one. I wonder if I represent an anti-interventionist faction. Tucker Carlson does too, as does Candace Owens. And I wonder if that's the real reason. I've not said anything particularly disparaging about AmFest, but they told me I couldn't come. Why? Maybe it's because I said we should stop funding Israel. Maybe it's because I said we shouldn't be giving money to Ukraine. Maybe it's because young people largely don't want foreign intervention. And there are individuals in politics who disagree. So I will say this. I've been given the official reason. I had made hurtful comments. Maybe. I had been told they're full. Hard to do. Perhaps. Tucker Carlson is expected to speak there. Maybe it's just, it would be too difficult to cancel him. Candace Owens certainly would not be speaking there. But I do wonder if one of the main reasons is that there is an effort to consolidate around a pro-interventionist liberal economic order faction. The use of Tim Pool is no more. We don't need a disaffected liberal who's anti-war and anti-intervention. That's not what the movement needs. The movement needs those who are going to champion foreign investment and foreign intervention. I'm not saying that's definitively why it happened, nor am I trying to cast aspersions, nor impugn the honor of anybody. But I think one of the principal rifts right now is that young people do not care about our involvement in these foreign countries. They want to know how they're going to buy a house and have a family. But I believe if you're going to change this, you need an organization that reaches students that's going to advocate for a worldview that sees it the other way. And so maybe, I'm sure there will be many thoughts, critiques, commentary. I'm sure there will be lies, manipulations, insults, insinuations, all those things. I don't know. I'm going to do my thing.
So here's what I want to say, and we'll get into a little bit more of this video. Tim Pool, especially on Twitter, has in many ways been kissing Israel's ass, been kissing Benjamin Netanyahu's ass, but at the same time also is delivering this message that we shouldn't give money to Israel. So to the person that just said this earlier in the chat, he's basically been playing both sides. But he was one of the podcasters that did meet with Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to DC. He was in that room, and a lot of people online were giving him crap about that. But what this shows you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get into a little bit more of it here, is that Turning Point USA has a new boss, and the new boss is making some decisions. It seems as though they are trying to decide who they want on their stage. This is very weird, especially considering the fact that Charlie Kirk was kind of known for bringing on different voices. We saw Charlie Kirk debate Cenk Uygur on the stage. We watched Charlie Kirk debate Brianna Joy Gray also on the stage. He was not immune to bringing on people that were, to the left of him to debate the issues. And now it seems like, now that Turning Point USA has new leadership, they don't even want some people who pretty much align with them, I would say with 99.9% of the issues. They don't even want some of them like on that stage. Obviously, they definitely don't want Candace on that stage. I'm surprised they still have Tucker Carlson as a part of America Fest, but to Tim's point, it's probably because they don't want to lose like ticket costs for that. Like that is a really, really big name and people already knew that he was going to be there. So there's that, but they are drawing a line in the sand. Let's get into this a little bit more because he also had a lot more to say here.
Hello there, Timcast audience. Friends, fans, subscribers. I'm making this video to give you the update on our end of the year show, and I feel like I am obligated to you to make this video now. We will not be, Timcast IRL will not be at America Fest 2025 this year. It is with a heavy heart that I say this, but we were not invited. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of tumult, grief, a change in views. There's a lot to break down in why we were not invited. And I believe that because we at Timcast IRL on the show, I, as well as others here, had promoted ticket sales and encouraged our viewers to purchase tickets, I have an obligation to you to explain that we won't be there. AmFest is way bigger than me. It's way bigger than this show, and they can do whatever they want. I am a little saddened that we will not be coming. We were there 3 years in a row every year, and it was very amazing. And I am eternally grateful to Charlie Kirk and the crew there for having us out the way they did. And it's sad that the vision has changed in such a way. But I don't want people who have booked tickets and plan to go, hoping to see us, to be upset that we're not there. And I have had people asking me, wait, don't say anything. But I don't think that's fair to you, who we have told to purchase tickets. So we are now 1 month away from the event. And I know that most people attending are not just attending to see me. I think I'm actually one of the smallest portion of the event, and always have been. But we represent a bit of a different audience. But I do know that we have fans who show up for us. And I owe it to you to make sure you don't buy tickets or do something that you may later regret when you find out we didn't inform you after promoting the event. We're not there.
Yeah, that would really suck, huh? So apparently he was active in getting people to purchase tickets for that event that he was going to be at, and now he's not going to be there. You know, in the words of Avril Lavigne, honey, everything's changing. Avril Lavigne, old school Avril Lavigne, first album Avril Lavigne, everything's changing when I look around. Listen, let me tell you something here, okay? It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Have you ever had a boss? And I think some of you have been in this situation. Raise your hand if this has happened to you. You ever had a job and your boss was either laid off, or let's say they left to go pursue another job. So let's say you had a supervisor that did things a certain way, and everybody was accustomed to the way that they did these things. And then your boss tells everybody, guess what? I'm leaving. I'm taking another opportunity at another company, etc. Then you get the new boss. And in the beginning, people were kind of looking around and they're wondering, okay, what are they going to be like? Are they going to keep things the way that they were before? Because we liked our previous supervisor. We liked our previous boss. New boss comes in and tells you, I know many of you are probably concerned and worried, but don't worry about it. We're not going to change anything. I'm not making no changes. I just want to get to know each and every one of you. I've had that situation happen. And then I've had a new boss just come in and just say, look, from now on, this is how things are going to be done. Right? It seems like with Turning Point USA, because this is happening in such a short amount of time after Charlie Kirk died, it seems like it's the latter, where the new boss came in and said, all right, this is what we are going to do from now on. This is how we are going to do things. The changes are happening very quickly. Has everybody noticed this? It's just November. So they're making decisions. And don't forget, the donors have a say-so here as well. And it's just interesting because out of all the people, Tim Pool, he was in that room there basically, sucking up to Benjamin Netanyahu. But there's something about him apparently that is giving him pause, or is giving the donors pause. Now, if you are not familiar with Tim Pool, I first heard about him during Occupy Wall Street. And that was back when I think he pushed and believed in more left policies. And he started changing over the years. But that's where I came to know of him, because he was reporting that, Occupy Wall Street. He was even on Rising at one point in time when Crystal and Sagar still hosted Rising. But he tends to agree more with the right now, and so he's been in spaces with Charlie Kirk. He's been in spaces with the rest of them at Turning Point USA, and they are shutting the door in his face. Let's continue.
So we won't be there. And this is due to, I was informed, comments I had made that were deemed hurtful. to people there. And if that's the case, hey, so be it. I get it. I'm not one to pull my punches. I criticize those that I deem to be critical. I don't think I said anything that should have been considered hurtful or offensive, but it is what it is. I think the management structure has changed as such that we're not welcome. And we're now at the point where, although I'm going to give you the full transparency and explain everything that's going on, there certainly are people at the event who do want us there. The concern that I have is that if there is any function of, we don't like what Tim has to say, I'm not here to create an awkward circumstance or bring any hostility. And so it's better that I just give you the full transparent view of where I think we are. I also want to add that I have frustrations with the politicking that is currently going on, not just related to Turning Point, but behind the scenes with many prominent personalities and politicos and politicians. I believe that people are pulling their punches, refusing to speak out because of concerns of the current infighting and the potential that things could break apart. And it is unfortunate. But I do believe that the sooner we rip the Band-Aid off, we can get refocused and try and figure out what we can do to maintain a movement and succeed in helping this country. There are many challenges ahead, certainly some of them the fault of Trump, that's for sure. And we're going to need to have an honest assessment about what is currently going on if we are going to succeed in the future. But let me give you the backstory of where we currently are and why I'm not invited to even attend America Fest. A few weeks before they murdered Charlie Kirk, the last texts I had sent to him, I asked him if we were still on for IRL as we are with most years, because we wanted to get things booked in advance. Charlie told me he'd circle back the team. He'd get right back to me. And, I'm not a big fan of the revealing text or whatever, but unfortunately, they murdered him. They killed the guy who was holding everything together. I believe that Charlie was the principal voice, the strength, the glue that brought this movement.
Who's they? No, you guys notice he said they? He didn't say Tyler Robinson murdered him. He said they murdered him.
Together, and was able to get a disaffected, moderate liberal type like me, skateboarding musician, weird guy in weird clothes, to come hang out with some suit-wearing conservatives and talk about how we can make this country better and build the movement. I truly believe Charlie would have been president someday. Following his murder, we were in constant communication with the team over at Turning Point, as we're largely friends, and my staff are friends. And we wanted to wait to be graceful and understanding on the grief. So we didn't press the issue. However, in the past month or so, we did communicate with them about what are the plans for America Fest as we do it every year. And initially we were told nothing has changed and the plan is as usual. And we said, sounds good. That's when we began to promote ticket sales. Again, I'm not trying to make it seem like we're principally responsible for them selling out or anything to that matter, just that we're a small component that will no longer be involved. Considering the fact that we did promote it, I want to make sure I'm being as transparent as possible.
Let's fast forward a little bit here to about 9 minutes.
They should know this. Prominent personalities know this. And I will say, nobody really wants to say it. The point that I had made on the Callan and Schaub podcast was that they're trying to put on a strong face to say to the world, we will not be defeated. Terrorism will not stop us. And so they're displaying strength and trying to show that they're not going to be deterred. From this, there have been individuals who have then inferred or used it to say, aren't they acting weird? Shouldn't they be grieving? And then implying that potentially they're involved in some way.
So we all know who he's talking about here, right? So let me make something very clear. They uninvited Tim Pool. They do not want him to be a part of this America Fest. The way that it's coming across from him is that he's like, well, we're just a small part of the show anyway. He doesn't seem to have any ill will towards them. And that leads me to say this. Let me tell you what this is it, right? Okay. Tim Pool still was trying to be a part of the club, right? So they uninvite you. And he's like, apparently they were offended with things that I said. But when Charlie Kirk was a part of that organization, he brought on people that may have said things that bothered him, but he felt like free speech was necessary. Now these same the people who are running this organization now, which was Erica Kirk and company, those who are running it now they apparently don't want to have people have conversations at these Turning Point USA events that may have said things that they disagree with, maybe some anti-Israel remarks according to them, or said things that hurt their feelings. Ooh, right? So Tim Pool is not coming down on them the way that he should, in my opinion, because Tim Pool still wants to be a part of the club. So his job is still to convince his audience, still go to America Fest, still attend the event, because he still wants to be a part of it. That's what this is really about. Anytime you see an organization move in this manner that was pro free speech, where all of a sudden now they're against free speech, they don't want to have conversations with people that they vehemently disagree with, which is something that Charlie Kirk did do. I didn't agree with a lot of the things that Charlie Kirk said, but I can't sit up here and say he didn't have conversations with people he disagreed with. So when you make that type of move, you are now gatekeeping. This is now becoming an exclusive club. It's turned into the movie Mean Girls. You guys ever seen Mean Girls? Remember the whole, you can't sit with us. On Wednesdays, we were pink. That's what it's turned into. And Tim doesn't really want to get to it in that level like I did. He doesn't want to say it the way that I did. I don't have anything to lose. I can say that because I have nothing to lose. I was never part of the club, so they can't kick me out of something I wasn't a part of. You know what I'm saying? But he still wants to maintain that in some way, shape, or form. Let's go on a little bit more here.
And so I think it's fair to say I'm not involved with Turning Point. They're friends. But the truth is they are grieving. They do have fears. They do have worries, but they're showing strength for you. I was told that this was offensive, I guess, and it goes against the vision of what they're trying to portray. And for that, there was no intention to invite me back following my statements in this regard. Well, okay. Guys, no, I'm not going to get mad at anybody for not doing me a favor. It's not my party. I'm not an organizer. I'm not a donor. In fact, it was expensive for them to bring my show out there. I think the reality of this is maybe we don't see eye to eye and they don't like that I said that. And that's fair. Nobody has to just accept things that I say and be nice to me. I do think that a core element of this is, though, Charlie may not have liked everything about me. I don't know, but he was a good guy and he knew how to lead. I think ultimately, whatever Charlie thought of me, he saw value in the audience that watches my show. And I think it has to do with we are principally disaffected liberal types, creatives, former liberals that have found more in common with the conservative movement. And thus, we bring a message, much like libertarians, to the conservative side. We bring a certain percentage that will help the conservative side win. And I want them to. I agree they should. I wish we had more political competition. But that seems to be not the vision, at least right now. Or
dude, just say you're a conservative. I don't like all this mumbo jumbo. I don't like all this. We try to help this side win, but you know I'm more of a da da da. Dude, just say you're a conservative. I don't do this. I don't do this. A little bit more here.
Perhaps it's just they don't operate in the same capacity that Charlie did, willing to be more amicable to other individuals. If they don't like what I have to say, then again, I am owed nothing. I owe them nothing. They owe me nothing. Now, initially, when I went to Phoenix, we did Timcast IRL for a week at the Turning Point Studios. I joined the Charlie Kirk Show, and we even fused Timcast IRL with Thought Crime, which was Charlie's nightly show with Czech Posobiec. We did it all together, and I thought everything was going pretty well. And I had asked the team there if the plan, was going to stay the same. They said, yes, the plan will stay the same. And I said, okay, sounds good. They did express to me, it's hard to do Timcast IRL. It's expensive. It's rough. And I agreed. I didn't want to imply that they were hurting or didn't have money or couldn't afford it or whatever the issue might be.
Yeah. And there was no reason for him to make a video this long about this. The thing is this. Look, this has nothing to do with how expensive it is to do your show. Turning Point USA has a lot of money. The thing is, you hit the nerve with the wrong people. There were things that Tim Pool said that apparently bothered or offended those who are now the new boss at Turning Point USA, and that is why you are uninvited. It's the same reason why Candace Owens is not invited, right? So they have made decisions that they don't want certain people there that may have ruffled some feathers. And this long ass monologue of whatever apology or whatever this is he's trying to do is beside the point. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there are clubs, and there are clubs that some of us are a part of and some of us are not a part of. Tim Pool was a part of that club, and they are essentially shutting the door to his face, kicking him out of the club. And he doesn't want to say that because he still wants to be a part of it. And that's the sad part about all this. At the end of the day, a lot of this comes down to money. We know the donors were troubled by some of the positions that Charlie Kirk had towards the end there. We know that the donors have a lot of pull and a lot of say so with Turning Point USA because they're donating so much money to this organization. This is why it's important to have a grassroots organization. And so ultimately, you piss off the people with the money, you're gone, honey. That's really what it just comes down to. You pissed off the people with the money, and now you're gone, honey. That's it. We don't need all that other optics. That's really what it boils down to. Things are all obviously changing over at Turning Point USA. The new boss is not like the old boss. And I think people are seeing what is happening. Turning Point USA has a problem because the youth, even on the right, are not fond of this relationship the U.S. has with Israel, especially after Gaza. So they, I guess, have to figure out how to navigate that situation, but they're not going to navigate that situation if they are uninviting or removing people who may have been critical in some way, shape, or form of Israel. Tucker's already booked. They're afraid, I think, to pull that name just because it's such a big name and people have already bought tickets. People probably really be pissed if they were to pull him. But it's all about the money. It's all about the donor class. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. But things are changing over there. And it makes you wonder, again, like I said, there is a change that seems to be happening within the Republican Party. There are some that side with the old school ways of Turning Point USA. And then there are some that are siding with this newer idea that is being brought forward by Nick Fuentes. Don't believe me? Why is Chuck Schumer now saying, he just made a statement that we need to fight back against Nick Fuentes? That's how big this is now. Something to think about. So they kicked you out, Tim. They kicked you out. Ouch. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.